Wow, these modal double-faced cards are sure going to have an impact on the way we play Magic. Hey everybody, it's Dave here from Dragonhill Games, and let's talk about this. As with all of these Let's Talk videos, I want to know what you have to think. So why don't you let me know in the comments section below. Let's get the discussion rolling here. So yesterday, Matt Tabak took to Twitter. If you're not familiar with who Matt is, he is a senior editor over at Wizards of the Coast, a one-time rules manager, and part of the R&D team. He took to Twitter and then later to Reddit to clarify some of the interactions that these new modal double-faced cards, let's just call them MDFCs from now on, have with some existing cards that are already in the Magic universe. So he says, for those of you who are unaware, you can indeed play MDFCs with things like Crucible of Worlds and the like. If you're playing an MDFC from any zone, you check the face you're playing to see if it's legal. Now, this is really important, and the key word here is playing. In other words, if you have an effect that puts onto or returns from the battlefield, you're not actually playing those cards, so it only sees the front face, just like normal double-faced cards. Traditionally, with double-faced cards, you've only been able to see the front face when it's in any other zone but the battlefield. And just like all double-faced cards, the new Zendikar MDFCs have a front and a back face, and they're denoted by these little triangles we see here with Needle Verge Pathway. So Needle Verge Pathway would be the front face of this card, and Pillar Verge Pathway with the triangle pointing up and down would be the back side of this card. So why is this important? Why are we having this conversation? Well, MDFCs kind of break the mold a little bit for double-faced card, and the reason why they do that is because you have a choice of the mode you want to play them. And that has never been an option in the past. If we have a look at something like JVP here, we could only ever play JVP as Jace Vryn's Prodigy. There's not really a way we can put Jace Telepath Unbound directly onto the battlefield. It has to enter as a JVP, and then a requirement has to be met in order to flip it to Jace Telepath Unbound. So getting back to why this is important with these new MDFC cards from Zendikar Rising, if we head back over to Twitter, according to Matt, if we're playing an MDFC from any zone, we check the face you're playing to see if it's legal. So that can be either the front face or the back face. So let's talk about something like Muldrotha the Gravetide, for example. Muldrotha allows you, during each of your turns, to play up to one permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. Well, let's have a look at something like Umara Wizard, for example. This would slot really nicely into a Muldrotha deck because it gives us options. We can play Umara Wizard from our graveyard as a Merfolk Wizard, or we could choose to play Umara Skyfalls from our graveyard with Muldrotha instead. Even more interesting is the interaction we have with things like Crucible of Worlds. Let's take Commander, for example. We could play Ameria's Call, which is a 7-mana sorcery. So for 3 white and 4, we create 2 4/4 White Angel Warrior creature tokens with flying, and then non-angel creatures we control gain indestructible until end of turn. Once this hits the yard, we can then bring it back as Ameria Shattered Skyclave, the land side, with something like Crucible of Worlds. Getting double mileage out of your cards seems really, really strong. Now, heading back to Matt's clarification for just a moment, all of the traditional rules for MDFCs apply when you're not playing them. So this is important when we're doing things like putting onto the battlefield or returning onto the battlefield. You're not playing them, therefore only the front face matters. So why is this important? Well, we go back to all of our usual tricks we've employed in the past when we do things like flickering MDFCs. The rules state whenever you flicker a double-faced card, it always returns front side up. Whenever a double-faced card isn't on the battlefield, it only has the characteristics of its front side. This means that barring any odd circumstances, a double-faced card will always re-enter the battlefield front side up. So if we head back over and use Ameria Shattered Skyclave as an example, let's say your opponent has this out on the battlefield and you play a Flicker Wisp and flicker Ameria Shattered Skyclave. Well, it's going to try to return as its front side, which it can't. Ameria's Call is a sorcery, and since it's not a permanent, this is just going to stay in permanent exile. But wait, this gets even more crazy. Let's say I play this card out as Akum Teeth, and then I hit it with a Teferi's Time Twist. Well, it's going to come back as Akum Warrior with a +1/+1 counter on it. That's right, I'm going to have a 5/6 Trampler. Pretty wild. And then, of course, we have the interactions with the top of our library. Let's take Oracle of Moldiah, for example. Oracle of Moldiah allows us to play land cards from the top of our library. Well, if we head back over to the Ameria's Call / Ameria Shattered Skyclave card, for example, we should be able to play Ameria Shattered Skyclave from the top of our library with Oracle of Moldiah. Conversely, if we take a look at something like Growth Spiral specifically says you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Now, this is entirely different according to the rules clarification. This would not allow us to put Ameria Shattered Skyclave from our hand onto the battlefield, because when it's in any other zone, we can only really see the front face unless we're playing a Modal DFC. However, if we look at something like River Glide Pathway / Lava Glide Pathway, with Growth Spiral, we would be able to put River Glide Pathway onto the battlefield, just not Lava Glide Pathway. At least that's the way I understand it. Is anybody else confused yet? There is definitely a lot of funky new interactions with these MDFCs. I really wish that Wizards would have spent the time to put out a better rules clarification than just 3 simple lines in a Reddit post. There's still a lot of questions out there. If you go down and look, I mean, hundreds of people are posting in here. Everyone is a little bit confused about these new MDFCs. What do you guys think of them? What are your planned interactions with some of the existing cards in Magic the Gathering? Do you like these new MDFCs? Why don't you let me know in the comments section below? In fact, I want to hear all about what you think of all of the Zendikar Rising spoilers we've seen so far. What do you think about some of these new crazy planeswalkers we've seen, like Jace Mirror Mage? Speaking of crazy new planeswalkers, isn't this Nissa of Shadowed Boughs amazing? I mean, this thing gets loyalty counters whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control. What's also amazing is that I made a video over a month ago where a guy had spoiled the text for this card into a Reddit post, and he was bang on. How do you feel about Landfall making a comeback? It's really awesome that something like Lotus Cobra is going to be moved up into Pioneer, and I really do like the new art on this card. All right, I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. And as I mentioned, I really do want to hear what you guys think about all of this stuff in the comments section below. So make sure you leave a comment. And I did put all the links to the Reddit posts and things we talked about in this video in the description. So if you need to go over that and you want to contribute, go ahead and click on that link. If you're looking for a way to support this channel, head on over to www.dragonhillgames.com. Of course, we have all your favorite board games, fantasy miniatures, role-playing games, and Magic the Gathering products. We have pre-orders up there for all the Zendikar Rising stuff and Commander Legends. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.